thousands of people have mysteriously vanished in America's wilderness. Join us as we dive into the deep end of the unexplainable and try to piece together what happened. You are listening to Locations Unknown.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Locations Unknown. I'm your co-host, Joe Erado, and with me, as always, is a guy who always plows his driveway before driving over it and turning it nice, Mike Van de Bogart.
I wish that were true.
No, you have the two icy tire tracks?
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
More than two. So
Perfect.
I wish I could get out there sooner, but
Yeah.
it's cold.
It's cold.
It'll melt someday.
Someday. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Joe, and thank you to all of our amazing listeners for tuning in. Just some few updates before we get going. Got one new patron shout out to Haley Mizaldine. I think I said that right.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much for supporting the show.
Do you like how confidently I just like, yeah, you did.
Yeah, you were good. Thank you for supporting the show. It helps us. We say it all the time, get better equipment, better software. Someday we'll do this full time and really step up our game. So maybe this year, maybe next year, maybe next decade, maybe never.
Maybe never. You'll never know.
You'll never know.
As long as people keep going missing, we'll keep talking about it.
Yes. And if you want to support the show, you can find us on Patreon, Spreaker subscriptions, Apple subscriptions. You can buy sweet stuff from our store. Joe's holding up a hat. That's an old model. We got new model hats.
Old model.
They
look pretty close.
They're vintage.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this one's $2,000 if you want to buy this one.
yeah,
I'll sign it.
The company that made them went out of business during COVID. Yeah. So we got a new supplier. If you want to call the show, leave a voicemail. You can call 208-391-6913. I think Joe and I need to do another voicemail episode. I think they're starting to pile up.
Yeah, that's good. 208-391-6913. Call right now. Tell us about your life.
Yes.
Whatever you want. Ask us questions.
Yes. Or make up a character and call in.
Yeah.
And then you can take over the spot that North Dakota Ned vacated.
And Montana Mike. Yeah, we don't know if they must have been missing.
We're sending out a SOS to them if they're listening. We're curious what's been going on with you. Where have you been? Yep. We miss you.
We do.
So
deeply.
If you want to check some other podcasts out on our Unknown Media Group network, we've got Off the Trails, The Weirdos We Know, Who Runs This Park, Crime Off the Grid, and Relish. And maybe a couple more jumping into the stable.
Yes, soon.
This spring. So stay tuned for that. What else going on?
You forgot Hike and Seek.
Oh, Hike and Seek.
Hike and Seek. They were on the list.
Hike and Seek. Don't want to forget them.
Yep.
Anything going on in your world?
Nothing.
Just
this. This is all I do. I live in the studio when you leave, actually. I have my bed behind this forest.
You have a bucket of fish heads in the other room that you eat?
Absolutely.
There you go.
And another bucket. Anyway. All right, everybody. Let's gear up and get out to explore Locations Unknown. May 2019 to May 2022. 3 men travel alone into the vast desert backcountry of Death Valley National Park. 1 to cache water in a remote canyon, 1 to check on a vehicle at an isolated hot spring, and a 3rd who never returns from a campground on the park's edge. Each disappearance triggers a search. None of them are found. What do these cases reveal about the risk, scale, and survival in one of the most unforgiving landscapes in North America? Join us this week as we investigate 3 Death Valley National Park cold cases. Death Valley National Park. Mike, have you gone there?
I have not.
I have not either.
It's on the list of a park to, I would say, drive through.
Yeah. I feel like you could get the whole feel of it relatively quick.
I'm sure. I mean, it does look pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I think you got to really go at the right time. It's just not summer.
Like the dead of winter.
Or like there's like the straddle months where it's not super cold and not 120.
The bookends.
The book, yeah. It does look cool. There are spots that
Also known as shoulder seasons.
yes, that's what I was
straddle
thinking.
months.
I will delete that out because
You're not. No way.
The shoulder seasons.
I'm going to call it the straddle months from now.
Straddle months. In my head, that sounded right.
Here's the deal. I knew it was wrong, but I also didn't know what it was right away, so I couldn't make fun of you just yet.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you let me cook there a little bit.
Let you bask in it for a little bit. I always love visiting the parks in the straddle months.
I mean, the word makes sense. Like,
No.
you're straddling to, come on, work with me here.
You're digging deeper. You gotta
I know.
stop digging. I only laugh because I do the same stuff and it's finally not me. Anyway,
Let's keep it moving here.
so we're going to be going to the Emigrant Campground. That's where Peter went missing. Saline Valley, Hunter Canyon, and Saline Valley Hot Springs. That's where Rolin went missing. And the Saline Valley Warm Springs. It's a little bit lower than the Hot Springs once it's had a chance to cool off.
Yes.
So Death Valley sits in both California and Nevada and was established as early as October 31st in 1994. So very, very recent.
Yes.
So we're going to jump into some interesting facts. Did you know you can stand at the lowest point in North America and see snow-covered mountains at the same time? From the Badwater Basin, which sits at 282 feet below sea level, you can often see Telescope Peak rising over 11,000 feet above you. That's a vertical difference of more than 2 miles within a single view.
Pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. We'll go drive up to that.
Yes.
We'll go experience that. Death Valley can be deadly cold. Despite its reputation, winter temperatures can drop below freezing at night, especially in higher elevations. Hypothermia is a real risk for unprepared visitors who assume desert always means warm. Did you know that rocks move there on their own, Mike?
They do.
The famous sailing stones at Racetrack Playa slide across the desert floor, leaving long tracks behind them. Scientists eventually confirmed they moved due to a rare combination of ice, wind, and shallow water, not earthquakes or pranksters. I remember when they figured that out. I distinctly remember watching like the Discovery Channel when they revealed what it was.
Yeah.
At least on TV. I'm sure they figured it out earlier than that, but
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
that is cool. It is kind of weird, like, to think about. They just
Yeah.
have these rocks with long lines and like
What's going on?
yeah,
Is it like a Toy Story thing at night? They grow legs and move around?
yeah, but just in a straight line
Yeah.
in the direction of the wind.
Yes.
Rain can be more dangerous than the heat. Death Valley averages about 2 inches of rain per year, but when storms hit, they can trigger sudden flash floods that sweep through canyons and washes with little warning, even if it's sunny where you're standing. It is one of the quietest places in the United States. Some areas of the park register near total natural silence with no trees, little wind, and miles between people. The absence of sound can be disorienting, and especially at night.
That would be kind of cool to experience. Like pure, true silence.
Yeah, it'd be a little terrifying, especially out there.
Yeah.
Distances are incredibly deceptive. The dry air and the open terrain make faraway objects appear closer than they really are. A hill that looks 10 minutes away could be hours on foot, a factor that has played a role in many disappearances.
It's the old hiking joke, like
Just over that hill?
just over that hill.
I remember in the bottom of one of my mountain house things, it said something like, "It's not over the hill." like it was totally like, just like, aw.
Anyone who's hiked a lot, that's burned into your brain. Every hike, you're like, oh.
I've given up on reading maps. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just like, once we hit this point, I know we're here.
Yeah.
The park contains entire abandoned mining towns and ruins, many unmarked. So Death Valley once hosted hundreds of mining operations. Remnants like cabins, shafts, and equipment still exist far off established roads, sometimes discovered accidentally by hikers or search teams. Cell phones are often useless even near roads. Large portions of the park have no cell service at all. You can be within the sight of your car and still have zero signal, which complicates both self-rescue and emergency response. It is the largest national park in the contiguous U.S., bigger than some states. So Death Valley covers over 3.4 million acres. That sheer size means huge areas see little to no daily human traffic, making searches exponentially harder the farther someone travels from a known point. And because Death Valley doesn't have dense forests or dramatic alpine peaks, many visitors subconsciously rate it as less dangerous. In reality, its open terrain, heat, isolation, and lack of water make it one of the most unforgiving landscapes in North America. It's actually right in the name. It's the first word of the name.
We had a funny email from someone who was talking about a case we covered, and it was in the Sierra Nevadas maybe, and one of the hardest trails in the park was named Bunny Flat Trailhead. And they were just making the joke that it's like probably in the top 3 of like most deceptive trail names in the park system.
It's like Little John.
Yeah.
It's actually the biggest guy.
Yeah.
So a little bit about the climate. So Death Valley National Park has one of the most extreme climates on Earth. It's defined by intense heat, extreme dryness, and dramatic temperature swings, all shaped by its low elevation and mountain ranges that surround it. Large portions of the park sit below sea level, including Badwater Basin, which allows heat to pool and linger in a way that few other places experience. Death Valley is known for its heat. Summer temperatures routinely climb above 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and during the hottest periods, daytime highs often reach 120 degrees or more. That is crazy.
That is.
Even nighttime offers little relief. Summer lows frequently stay in the 80s and 90s. The park holds the record for the hottest air temperature ever recorded on Earth, measured at 134 degrees Fahrenheit in 1913, though modern analysis suggests that extreme summer temperatures in the 120 to 30 range are more typical.
Oh, just 130.
Yeah, that's wild. Unlike many hot places, Death Valley is also extremely dry. The park receives an average of only about 2 inches of rain per year, making it one of the driest regions in North America. Some years receive almost no measurable rainfall at all. The lack of moisture increases dehydration risk and reduces the body's ability to cool itself through sweat. Despite the arid conditions, rain, when it does come, it can be dangerous. Storms are infrequent, but when they occur, they can be intense, especially during winter systems or late summer monsoonal surges. These sudden downpours can trigger flash floods that race through normally dry washes and canyons, catching visitors off guard. Even areas that haven't seen rain locally can flood due to storms miles away. Seasonally, Death Valley's climate changes more in comfort than in safety. Winters are cooler and are often considered the most pleasant time to visit, with daytime highs typically in the 60s and 70s. However, nighttime temperatures can drop to near freezing, especially in higher elevations and open desert areas. These wide temperature swings can be dangerous for anyone underprepared for cold after sunset. Another defining feature of Death Valley's climate is how quickly conditions can become life-threatening. Because of the park's size, isolation, and limited shade, a short walk away from a vehicle or campground can rapidly turn dangerous. Heat illness, dehydration, and exhaustion can develop faster than many people expect, sometimes within hours, especially during warmer months. Triple-digit temperatures have been recorded as early as March and as late as October. So maybe not even the shoulder seasons.
Or the
straddle seasons. I almost didn't make it through the breakdown. I would like really pull it together for my serious voice.
Yeah.
Death Valley National Park is defined by extreme terrain just as much as extreme climate. It's not a single landscape, but a massive fractured basin surrounded by mountain ranges, carved by erosion and broken into countless isolated pockets. From the valley floor to the peaks, elevation changes are dramatic, abrupt, and often deceptive. At the heart of the park lies the valley floor, including Badwater Basin. That's the lowest point in North America, as we said. These low areas are dominated by salt flats, hard-packed playas, and wide open expanses with almost no shade or visual reference points. From ground level, distances are difficult to judge. A ridge that looks close can be miles away, and once someone leaves a road or a campground, there are a few landmarks to help reorient. Surrounding the valley floor are vast alluvial fans, giant sloping fields of gravel, sand, and rock that spill out from the mountains. These fans look relatively flat from a distance, but on foot they are uneven, exhausting, and easy to get lost in. Drainages and shallow washes crisscross these areas, subtly pulling travelers away from their original direction without them realizing it. Beyond the fans, the terrain rises sharply into multiple mountain ranges, including the Panamint Range to the west and the Black Mountains to the east. Elevation gains of several thousand feet can occur just over a few miles. These slopes are often steep, rocky, and unstable. With loose scree, cliffs, and narrow ridgelines, a single misstep can lead to a fall or injury from far from help, often in locations that are invisible from above. In the most remote sections of the park, like the Saline Valley and its surrounding canyons, the terrain becomes even more complex. The Saline Valley itself is a long, isolated basin accessed by rugged dirt roads and surrounded by steep mountain walls. Canyons such as Hunter Canyon cut sharply upward from the valley floor, funneling hikers into narrow, winding routes with limited escape options. These canyons can feel straightforward at first, then suddenly steepen or dead end in rock faces, forcing difficult route-finding decisions. Another critical feature of Death Valley's terrain is its scale. The park covers 3.4 million acres, making it the largest in the United States, contiguous. Many areas see little to no daily foot traffic. Once someone leaves a developed area, they can quickly be alone in a landscape where search and rescue becomes exponentially harder the farther they move from a known point. From a search perspective, the terrain works against visibility. Washes, ridgelines, and folds in the desert hide people very easily. A person can be only a few hundred feet from a road or a camp and still be completely out of sight. In mountainous areas, shadows, rock color, and terrain texture make aerial detection difficult even in ideal conditions. So there you go. So some tips. One of them, don't go. Just kidding.
Just kidding.
So since its formation in 94, it's estimated that between 110 and 120 people have died in Death Valley. It's also estimated that there are over 20 unsolved disappearances in the park. Below, we have some tips on how you can safely hike the park.
Not join that list.
Yeah. You want to start with the assumption that rescue will take a long time. In Death Valley's backcountry, help is rarely nearby. Cell service is unreliable or non-existent. Terrain limits visibility and distances are vast. You should plan every hike as if you are completely on your own for at least 24 hours. Carry far more water than you think you will ever need, and then add more. Death Valley's dry heat accelerates dehydration even in cooler months. Sweat evaporates so quickly that many hikers don't realize how much fluid they're losing. Running out of water is one of the fastest ways to a routine hike turns dangerous. I've actually been in hot places where you don't even realize you're sweating.
Yeah,
because it evaporates so quick.
That was like Canyonlands. It was so hot and dry that you hike all day.
You stay dry.
And you're just dry and you're salty because the salt doesn't evaporate off your skin. But yeah, you're like super thirsty, but you're like, you feel like you haven't sweat anything out.
You just have like the ashiness left over from the salt deposits in your skin.
Yeah.
Avoid hiking during the hottest part of the day. So if you're hiking in the warm months, plan to move early in the morning or late in the afternoon. Midday heat can be overwhelming, and even experienced hikers can succumb to heat exhaustion or heat stroke surprisingly fast. And never, as we said before, don't trust distances by sight. The open desert makes hills, ridges, and landmarks appear much closer than they are. What looks like a short walk can easily turn into miles of exhausting travel over uneven ground. Always measure distances with maps or GPS, not your eyes. Stick to a clear plan. Before heading out, share your route, destination, start time, and expected return time with someone who will notice if you don't come back. Vague plans make search efforts dramatically harder if something goes wrong. Carrying navigation tools. So many areas of Death Valley have no marked trails. A GPS device or map and compass are essential, but only help if you understand how to navigate with them. Don't rely solely on a phone app. Yeah, that's where I would want like the beacon, the whole satellite setup, everything.
Oh, yeah.
And you can rent that stuff.
Yep.
If you can't afford to buy it. Emergency communication, just as I just said. A satellite communicator or personal locator beacon can be life-saving. Many parts of the park, these are the only ways to call for help if you're injured or disorientated. I said that for you.
Thank you.
Expect rough, uneven terrain, even on flat routes. Alluvial fans, washes, and gravel slopes are exhausting and easy to misjudge. Ankle injuries are common, and a minor fall can become serious when you're miles from your vehicle. Be cautious in canyons and washes, even when the skies are clear. Flash floods can occur from any storm many miles away. Never assume a dry wash is safe simply because your weather looks good where you are. This is where you want to talk to the rangers. They can look at the weather and the surrounding areas, and they know what's downstream essentially from where storms will be.
And never set your camp up in what looks like a dry riverbed or anything like that.
Yes.
Just assume it will have water in it at some point.
Yep. No bueno.
Our luck would, if we went there, our luck would be they'd have like the 100-year flood.
Like in Zion?
Yeah.
Like when we almost got washed out.
It doesn't rain for years, and then we show up and they have like an epic flood.
Yeah, that's exactly what would happen. Know when to turn around and do it early. Pride and momentum get people into trouble. If conditions feel wrong, you're running low on water, or you're behind schedule, turning around early is almost always the right decision. I've done that so many times.
Yeah.
It bugs me, but I'm like, I'd rather not be on my show.
Yeah.
Understand that experience doesn't make you immune. Death Valley routinely overwhelms seasoned hikers and outdoor veterans. Familiarity can breed overconfidence, and the park has no margin for error when heat, dehydration, or injury enter the picture. Mike, let's get into the stories.
All right. So our first character of 3 is Rolin Bruno. He went missing on November 27th of 2019. He was a male, age 76. He was approximately 5'11", approximately 170 pounds. He had long gray hair, brown eyes, and a gray beard. Last clothing gear he was seen in. So public descriptions of Bruno indicate he was likely wearing casual outdoor clothing appropriate for desert hiking. Some reports describe flannel or denim style shirts and blue jeans, though the exact clothing at the time of his disappearance is not definitively documented, and there really were no other details of the clothing that he was wearing. Personality-wise, Bruno was described by his family as an independent and outdoors-oriented. He was comfortable traveling alone and planning future trips well in advance. He planned to cache water for a later hike, which suggests forethought, self-reliance, and familiarity with desert travel logistics, and there is no intention of reckless behavior or intent to disappear. And I mean, anyone who is thinking that far ahead that they're planning for future hikes by storing water is they're thinking about the risks.
Yes,
because I bet most people aren't going to do that. So that at least we know he's not completely oblivious to the harsh conditions of Death Valley.
Yeah, it sounds like good planning.
Yeah, medical conditions. Nothing specifically was documented in any of the research, and so we don't know if he had any chronic conditions. I think it's easy. You can say that he is 76. I know a lot. People know a lot of older individuals of that age that are very physically fit and active, but Joe just went through the terrain and climate of this park, and it could give a 20-year-old problems. So the older you get when you're hiking in extreme heat like this, the more difficult it can be on your body. And though he was hiking in November, so it should be cooler at this point. Occupation, hobbies. He was retired at the time of his disappearance. Like I said, he was an experienced outdoorsman, enjoyed hiking and traveling in remote desert environments. He frequently visited Saline Valley and the Death Valley National Park in Holm. So very familiar with this area, very familiar in the wilderness. He was very comfortable traveling in remote desert terrain, like I said, and had experience planning multi-day or staged wilderness trips. So, and like I said, very experienced in this location. He's been to the spot multiple times before. He planned to hike up Hunter Canyon, and he was planning to meet people at Saline Valley Hot Springs. So he knew what he was doing. He's been here. He's hiked in deserts. Safe to say, pretty experienced. So our timeline, roughly starts out on Monday or Tuesday, November 25th or 26th of 2019. His exact start date is unclear. So authorities reported that it, like I said, it was unclear whether Bruno's hike occurred Monday or Tuesday. This uncertainty matters because it really widens the initial missing window and affects how far a person could have traveled before anyone realized there was a problem. It's now Wednesday evening, November 27th of 2019, and Joe's showing some pictures. What are we looking at?
Some of them were from the helicopter.
Okay.
The search
from this
search rescue. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a picture of him.
Okay. You're sharing it?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Always ask just in case.
Yep.
It's now, it's Wednesday evening, like I said, November 27th of 2019. The Inyo County Sheriff's Office was notified by Death Valley National Park that Bruno was missing. Like I said, he had planned to hike up Hunter Canyon out of Saline Valley to stash some water for a future spring hike, and then he was going to meet his family at Saline Valley Hot Springs. When he didn't arrive, family contacted the campground host, and it was reported at the time that he was hiking alone. It's now Thursday, November 28th of 2019. Almost every case we cover, there's always severe weather that comes in. So on this day, a severe winter storm impeded search efforts, and this became a major operational limiter early in the case. It reduced access and delayed any kind of aerial reconnaissance. So very common occurrence, and maybe that's just why a lot of these cases happen, is because there's some bad weather that comes in. But just like every other case, bad weather impeded the search. Friday, November 29th of 2019, aerial reconnaissance was then again requested. CHP's Inland Division Air Operations initially responded, but a fog layer made flying impossible in the morning. But once the fog lifted, China Lake Naval Air Station was requested to provide aerial support with Inyo SAR members on board. It's now Saturday, November 30th. This is when Inyo search and rescue members conducted extensive search assignments. They had additional aerial searching through the CHP. A drone was deployed to reach more remote areas and gather additional information. Responders also reported extremely icy conditions on Saline Valley South Pass, which nearly prevented the team from driving out of the search area. So the weather was bad enough that even the searchers were having a hard time getting out of there. And that is just remote.
That's Mars.
That looks like Mars. If you made the sky a little red,
yeah,
I'd say we're looking at Mars.
It literally, yeah. Like when you look down.
It's like a rover picture on Mars, except that's Earth.
Yeah. That is wild.
It is wild.
I'm going to see. They should have some pictures of more at the Saline. It's Saline Warm Springs.
And hot.
Yeah, I couldn't find. It wasn't showing me the hot springs. I wonder if they're one and the same. I mean, maybe not, but.
Yeah,
I'll look it up. You can keep going.
Okay. Now I'm curious. Oh, no, it's a campground.
Well, yeah, but the Saline Hot Springs is separate?
Saline Valley Warm Springs is a campground.
Yeah.
And Saline Valley Hot Springs.
That's what I was saying. I was looking it up. You can just keep going.
I know.
I should have the Jeopardy music that I can play in these moments.
Saline Valley Hot Springs are a series of remote-free, clothing-optional geothermal pools located within Death Valley National Park. So you can go get your skinny dip on. Okay, where was I? We'll cut all that out. Oh, there you go. You found it.
Well, it's bearbackpacking.com. I think it's like if for people who want to backpack naked, it's like all the different places you can do that.
Oh, okay. Hey, you know what? To each their own.
Yep.
It's now Sunday, December 1st of 2019. So again, we had bad winter weather that prevented both flying and driving into the search area. This essentially paused major operational searching on that day. Monday, December 2nd of 2019, a half dozen Inyo County SAR members were inserted into the search area by Kern County Air Operations, while China Lake Mountain Rescue Group drove into the search area to comb lower segments. By Wednesday, December 4th of 2019, winter weather once again hampered search efforts, and overhead planning teams worked on the next phase of the operation. It's now Tuesday evening, December 10th of 2019. So after what Inyo Search and Rescue described as a lengthy multi-agency effort beginning on November 29th and involving aerial reconnaissance, drone searches, canine searches, and ground teams, the decision was sadly made to enter a limited continuous search mode, which always means that the case remains open and resources would be deployed if new clues ever emerge. So we always say it, they have to quit the search at some point. You just can't keep it going forever, especially if nothing's ever found. What are we looking at here, Joe?
These are lower Warm Springs.
Okay. So there's some trees there.
Yeah, they remind me of the trees in Dune.
Oh, yeah.
When they have like the 10 of them and they have to water them constantly.
Yeah, there's some green.
Yeah, this is the picture from the hot spring, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So it's like some people call them hot springs, some people call them warm springs.
Okay.
I would love to be wrong, but I can't
So I think
find
the
a difference.
distinction is the Saline Valley Warm Springs is an actual campground.
Okay.
I think the hot springs is a cluster of actual geothermal springs that you can swim in.
Well, that's what these both were.
Okay. Well, we'll get corrected, but either way,
correct us.
My understanding is Warm Springs is the campground. The hot springs is kind of a loosely collection of geothermal pools that you can swim in that are not really well marked. So, Wednesday, December 11th, the Inyo SAR made a public announcement that they were suspending the search, and that was the end of the search. Nothing was ever found of Bruno. No gear, no remains, no evidence at all. And I'll just run through theories quick and then move on to the next case. And at the end, we can we'll do one summary of theories. So likely theories in this one, I'll try to go quick. The most likely theory is that he's succumbed to environmental hazards while hiking in the rugged terrain. Mm-hmm. The most straightforward and widely considered possibility is that Bruno died due to exposure or trauma while hiking independently in what Joe described as very extremely rugged and remote terrain above Saline Valley. He planned to hike up Hunter Canyon, which is a very steep, remote canyon that rises from the valley floor towards high rocky terrain. This region includes, steep slopes, cliffs, uneven ground, and areas that can be difficult to traverse safely without a partner. Given that he was alone and had no route back to the vehicle or hot springs was ever established, it's very plausible that he ventured too far or too high and was unable to return and ultimately suffered some kind of fatal injury or succumbed to exposure. The next most likely theory kind of fits into the first theory is, death or incapacitation from heat or dehydration.
So that's like right here is the springs and then there's Hunter Canyon. So if he was trying to hike between those two.
Yeah.
That seems unnecessary.
Well, he was coming from Saline Valley.
Miles.
He was meeting his family in Saline Valley.
Okay, so he was starting in Hunter Canyon and hiking that way.
Yeah, he planned to hike up Hunter Canyon and then, I want to reiterate what he was going to do, just so I'm clear on it. He planned to hike up Hunter Canyon out of Saline Valley. He was stashing some water. That's why he went up there. And then he was going to meet at Saline Valley Hot Springs.
Look at this.
What is that? Did it just rain?
No, this is, if you go on the satellite, it's all there. I'm gonna look up what this is.
Huh.
Yeah, it's when I zoom out. Oh my gosh. It put me in a different spot.
So
look at this.
It's just, do we know what it's named?
Nope.
Just water in the middle of the desert.
I don't think that's water.
What do you think that is? Oh, it's Saline Valley.
It's Salt Lake. Yeah, just salt.
Oh. Want to drink it.
Brine.
Yeah. So, second most likely theory is something heat or dehydration related. Don't have to go into that one. It's pretty self-explanatory. Third most likely is hidden injury, fall, or incapacitation in a remote location. These all kind of tie together. So this one is just, there's a lot of terrain hazards here. The theory goes that he fell, became seriously injured, and was unable to call for help. A broken ankle, a head injury, or some kind of similar incapacitating event could leave anyone stranded out there, and without any way to contact anyone, he would not last very long. And searchers didn't locate footprints, gear, or remains, so it's possible he succumbed somewhere particularly remote, such as high on a ridge, deep in a drainage, or under brush or clouded terrain, not visible from the air or initial ground search. Another theory is just missed navigation. Joe went into detail on how easily it could be to navigate yourself right off the path you were on. And, his plan depended on navigating a steep canyon and returning by a route that likely offered very limited visual landmarks. It would be very easy to to get lost, especially if, fading light, it's, weather's, sunset. If there's unstable weather, there were a lot of winter storms during the search, so he could have encountered a storm while he was hiking. And, getting lost out there can lead to, getting into very dangerous terrain very quickly. And then all things are on the table, dehydration, hypothermia, injury, all of that. So those are the likely scenarios. Less likely is foul play. Some family and community commentary has referenced concerns about foul play, but there was no publicly released evidence supporting this in the investigative record. Hazardous wildlife, not really a factor in this one. It's often theorized informally in wilderness cases, but the Death Valley area has no record of wildlife interactions consistent with a disappearance. So, very unlikely. And voluntary disappearance, we always mention that, but some online speculation suggests he may have chosen to vanish, but his stated plan was to meet his family, and the presence of his vehicle and gear weighed kind of against this theory. So from all likelihood, it probably was just an unfortunate accident in very deep, remote backcountry wilderness. So I
agree with that one.
That's the first case. So our second subject tonight is Robert Allen Wildoner. He went missing on May 8th of 2021. Last contact with anyone was May 4th of 2021. He was a male, age 77, though I will state some early reports stated he was 76, so 77, 76. He was 5'6". He was 160 to 165 pounds. He was bald. He had blue eyes and a white beard. Clothing, gear he was last seen in. Specific clothing worn at the time he left his vehicle is not documented really. His Ford pickup was found near the Warm Springs area in Saline Valley, and inside the truck he had keys and a cell phone, and camping gear appeared untouched. So there was never any confirmed inventory or clothing or gear that he had on him, so we don't really know. We have less information too. We don't really know anything about his personality or medical conditions. Hobby occupation. He was a U.S. military veteran and retired at the time of his disappearance. He was known to travel independently and was comfortable undertaking vehicle-based trips in remote desert areas. He had previously also visited Saline Valley and the Warm Springs area. So he was, he's been out here before, experienced in the wilderness, moderate to high. Well, he was very familiar with remote travel and desert environments, comfortable driving into isolated areas without immediate services. He had prior experience navigating Death Valley backcountry by vehicle and on foot, though we don't have a lot of public documentation of any formal wilderness training, and we don't know what type of military service he had, if he was a highly trained SEAL, or we just know that he was a veteran. And like I said, he was experienced in this location. So our timeline, Joe's got some pictures from this case. Up here, there's image of the search. They're on Mars.
Yeah. It says the most of the rugged terrain in Saline Valley is only searched by air. Which,
yeah.
I mean,
getting into this timeline, yeah, isn't that crazy? I mean, it looks cool, but I don't know if I'd want to hike there.
Yeah, like it's like we're seeing all of it right now.
Yeah.
Like
I'd like to go there.
Yeah, I would go to
it.
these springs for sure.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That is cool. I mean,
I don't know why you'd want to go to a hot spring in the desert, but
right. Maybe at night it's
yeah,
nice.
Maybe at night when
it's cold
in the straddler seasons.
God, I'm never gonna live that down, am I?
Nope.
We'll have to create a T-shirt.
Look at this.
Oh, that's the search grid.
Yeah.
Wow. So if for those just listening, Joe has a map up, and the search and rescue team marked every coordinate that they searched, and it looks like someone. It reminds me like that scene out of Spaceballs where he has the big comb in the desert.
Yeah. Yeah, literally is like they combed the entire desert.
Yeah. And that's crazy. And that map probably doesn't do it justice, the distance that they searched.
Yeah, that's wild.
That is wild. So our timeline for Robert starts on May 4th of 2021. He left for Saline Valley to repair a disabled vehicle at the Warm Springs area. Before losing cell service, he called his wife at 2:29 p.m. and told her he was heading into the valley where he expected to be out of reception. He said he planned to return within a day or two. Information later made public indicated he likely only had enough food and water for about 1 day. It's now Tuesday night on May 4th of 2021. A camper later reported seeing Robert's Ford pickup arrive at the Warm Springs area after dark on May 4th. On May 5th, the truck was observed parked in a dirt roadway near a bathroom. By the following morning, the vehicle remained unattended. The night of his arrival, was later described as extremely dark with minimal moonlight, a detail that would later factor into theories that he may have become lost after arriving. It's now between May 6th and May 7th of 2021. So on the morning of May 6th, the abandoned pickup was reported by a campground host. A follow-up notification was made the next morning when the vehicle was still unmoved. Rangers from Death Valley National Park responded to the area late in the afternoon on May 7th to assess the situation. Around midday, his wife was contacted and confirmed that he had not returned home as planned. It's now Sunday, May 8th of 2021. Later that evening, Wildoner was formally reported missing. The Inyo County Sheriff's Office was notified after the initial on-scene assessment was completed. Dispatch logged the missing person report shortly before 8 p.m., and Wildoner was entered into California's missing persons system. It's now May 9th to May 10th of 2021. This is when search operations for him really kicked up. So they started in and around the Saline Valley area. Ground search efforts focused on the Warm Spring area and nearby desert terrain. Aerial reconnaissance was conducted with assistance from China Lake Naval Weapons Station and CHP Inland Division Air Operations, which expanded coverage over rugged and remote areas difficult to access on foot. It's now May 11th of 2021. Search efforts are continuing to grow at this point. Now they involve multiple agencies, so we have ground teams from Inyo County Search and Rescue and Mono County Search and Rescue. They worked assigned areas, while CARTA deployed 2 search dogs. Aerial searching continued in coordination with supporting air assets. It's now May 12th of 2021. This is what you might have been talking about in that picture, Joe. So ground searching was suspended due to unsafe heat conditions, with temperatures reaching approximately 105 degrees. Aerial reconnaissance did continue throughout that day. Additional search and rescue teams from across California were flown in and staged overnight in preparation for a large-scale grid search the following morning. And I still can't get over how, I've seen pictures of Death Valley before and I've seen it on the news, but it just, every time I see it, I'm just amazed at how barren it looks.
I'm going to try and find pictures of people for scale.
Yeah.
Like not even related to this case, just people in Death Valley.
It is now May 13th of 2021. So an early morning grid search was conducted across a wide area surrounding Saline Valley. Ground teams covered several square miles before extreme heat again limited how long they could safely operate. though air operations were able to remain active that entire day. It's now May 14th of 2021. Wildoner had still not been located, and unfortunately, again, the search was transitioned to a scaled back status, with the continued monitoring and follow-up on the case if anything new was brought forward. In all, there were a lot of agencies involved in this case. So we had the Inyo County Sheriff's Office, Death Valley National Park Rangers, Inyo County SAR, Mono County SAR, CARTA, Cal OES, CHP Inland Division Air Operations, China Lake Naval Weapons Station, and the Army National Guard. So they had a lot of different people helping with this search. I'd say it's a pretty large search. It's, it was May 14th, so we're still in May of 2021. This is kind of just a summary of what happened. So during the active search period in May 2021, responders examined his Ford pickup truck located near Warm Springs area in Saline Valley. Inside the vehicle, like I said earlier, they found his keys, cell phone, suggesting he did not leave with either item. There was camping gear inside the truck that appeared untouched, indicating he likely did not intend to establish a prolonged campsite away from the vehicle. There were no obvious signs of a struggle or vehicle malfunction at the scene. The presence of essential items, personal items left behind, really raised early questions about how far he may have intended to travel on foot, and whether he may have got out of his truck and got turned around pretty quickly, because all indications look like he wasn't planning on veering away from the truck too far. So, search teams focused heavily on the intermediate surroundings of the Warm Springs area, nearby roadways and desert terrain radiating outward from the vehicle. And, it's possible because he got there at night, he could have wandered away a pretty long distance from his truck at night when the heat wasn't bad. It still could be 80 degrees. But that's doable if, the sun's not beating on you. But, the extreme heat and open landscape made prolonged survival without water very unlikely, and the lack of footprints or clear direction of travel really limited what searchers could do. And despite, very extensive ground and aerial searching, no confirmed personal items, clothing, or remains have been located for Wildoner. It's now, what are we, So we're 2 years later now. So it's March 17th of 2023, nearly 2 years after his disappearance. I lost my... We'll cut this out and restart. My computer just rebooted.
You lost your power?
All right, we'll pause for a second. When I'm ready, I'll give you the 1, 2, 3. We should go back and find all of the stupid stuff we've said and turn those into shirts. Like the straddle seasons.
Yep.
Could be like a guy like...
That's a great idea, Mike. Welcome back to the Mike Show, where he can't keep his computer on the whole time. Hey, everybody. It's going to be a great evening here. It's very cold outside, but we are warm. I love that. I love our new board.
Oh, I love it. All right, I'm back. Let me find my spot. I don't remember where I cut off.
You could just leave the unedited one in the video if you want, because that will just be fun. We haven't said anything inappropriate.
No, maybe I will do that.
Yeah, there'll be a fun little Easter egg for people. Hear just the ridiculousness.
We can even add in voice modulation.
Oh, wow.
That's okay. Clean up on aisle 4, Mike. You got your computer picked up?
Yeah, I do.
Fantastic. Let's get this going.
All right, hold on here. All right.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
All right. So nearly 2 years later, March 17th of 2023, after his disappearance, there was a detailed reconstruction of the case. It was revisited by one of the news agencies out there, and they talked about, the early timeline and raised questions about the response. The reconstruction outlined the sequence of events beginning with the truck's arrival at Warm Springs, the delay between the vehicle being observed unattended and the formal missing persons report, and the time elapsed before a large-scale search operation was fully underway. Family members expressed frustration with what they viewed as critical delays during the early window when survival may still have been possible. Now, I'm not totally against what they're saying. I understand their logic behind it. Like in an environment like this,
Yeah.
you want to get searching as quickly as humanly possible, because without water, you're not going to last a day in this kind of environment. And
Nope, I agree.
but there's also a limit to how quickly, a search operation get kicked up and going. And you don't want to be too trigger happy with searches when the person's not really missing too.
Yep.
So I get why, it's not sometimes instantaneous, because can you imagine, like, every time some hiker is overdue and they kick off a huge search?
Yeah.
There'd be hundreds of them.
There's lots of people that come out late,
Yeah.
sure.
So, but maybe in a location like this, maybe you should do it a little quicker. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
So here's the best reference. I know I'm interrupting a little bit, but
Nope.
this is 6,061 feet as the crow flies.
yeah.
And I picked this spot because you'll see why in a second. They have a little thing, and you can see the springs from there. So it's not quite a mile,
Okay.
but
Wow.
it does seem closer,
Yeah. That's wild.
maybe farther away. I don't know. It's very deceptive. It seems like you could just kind of walk over there.
Yeah.
Like you know how it looks to me, like a couple football fields only.
Yeah.
And that's not, it's farther than that.
Yeah. Would you say 6,000 feet?
Yeah, 6,000 feet.
Yeah.
What's a mile? Like 8,000 something?
Sure.
You don't know.
Sounds about right.
Let's see. Of course, they do it in yards.
I should know it.
I should know it too, but I don't.
5,000.
5,000. Oh, okay. Never mind. So it's more than a mile away.
It looks closer.
It looks closer than a mile away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, keep going.
So, like I said, the family is voicing concerns. This is not something unusual in cases. The reconstruction also described family efforts to obtain records related to the case, which they said indicated little to no documented search activity after June 2021. Family members voiced concerns that follow-up efforts had effectively stalled, leaving unanswered questions about whether additional targeted searches might still be warranted. The piece also relayed family speculation regarding the possibility of foul play and referenced a message reportedly found written on the truck's windshield. But these elements were presented as family observations and concerns and not confirmed investigative conclusions, sadly. It's, we're still in March of 2023. This is when we actually got a new lead in the case. Very interesting. So in late March 2023, a potential new lead emerged when a weathered sandal was found approximately 1,000 feet from where Wildoner's pickup had been located near Warm Springs. The sandal showed signs of prolonged exposure to the desert environment. His wife identified the item as possibly belonging to him due to his distinctive repair tape she recognized from past use. The distance between the sandal and the vehicle suggested that Wildoner may have traveled further on foot than previously documented during the initial search. The sandal was treated as a possible clue rather than definitive evidence.
Here's 1,000 feet.
So not that far.
It doesn't seem that far.
Yeah. So this is a little interesting now. Like, I don't know. So, like I said, the sandal was treated as a possible clue rather than a definitive evidence. Its discovery renewed questions about his movements after leaving the truck and whether earlier search areas may have been missed. Earlier searches may have missed key locations. Jurisdiction over the investigation remained with the Inyo County Sheriff's Office, and no confirmation was made that the sandal could be conclusively linked to him. And no additional items or remains were reported in connection with the discovery.
All right, this is literally roughly.
Yeah.
Like to the center of these trees is 1,000 feet from where this picture was taken.
Okay.
So imagine 1,000 feet in every direction. That's like, doesn't seem that far.
No, but I could also see how a sandal would blend in.
Yeah, sandal would, but
terrain.
like, so how far is he? Like,
Yeah.
could he be like right here? And for whatever reason, we can't see him.
Yeah.
That's what's kind of freaking me out. Like this is so open.
Yeah.
And if they're finding his footwear only this far away.
Yeah. So does that mean then he hiked, with barefoot basically?
I don't
like,
know.
where did he go? So yeah, this is puzzling. Doesn't make sense to me. The sandal's obviously been out there a while. It's weathered. Maybe there's a chance.
I feel like
heavy rain.
When it's in the sun, it deteriorates quick.
Yeah. And maybe like heavy rain moved it from another area. Maybe it was higher up and it came.
Oh, like a flood came through?
Yeah, because like a sandal would
see that.
float in water, like heavy rain from like a strong storm. But
yeah, I could see that.
current status, so he's never been found. No remains have been covered. No definitive explanation has been established. The case remains open but inactive. So very puzzling case. Theories. Again, most likely theory is he died due to exposure after getting lost near Warm Springs. This is the obviously most commonly supported theory. He became lost shortly after arriving at Saline Valley, left his vehicle on foot, and succumbed to environmental exposure. The Warm Springs area is deceptively flat at first glance, but quickly gives way to open desert, low ridgelines, and drainages that offer little shade or navigational reference. The fact that his keys and cell phone were left inside the truck, along with untouched camping gear, suggests he only briefly stepped away from his car and planned on returning. The night he arrived was extremely dark with minimal light. He may have become lost once off the roadway. Even a short walk can, get you turned around and you can lose your bearings. So very likely. Another possibility is a medical emergency shortly after leaving the vehicle. This is another strong possibility that he suffered some kind of sudden medical event, such as a cardiac issue, a stroke, or collapse related to heat or exertion. At 76 or 77, depending on news reports, even a brief walk in desert conditions could trigger a serious medical emergency if he collapsed in a low visibility area, such as behind terrain folds, brush, or shallow washes. He could easily have been missed despite an extensive search effort. And this theory aligns with the absence of signs of prolonged travel and the lack of evidence that he intentionally packed supplies or prepared for an extended outing. Another possibility is fall or injury into terrain not visible from search corridors. The search teams covered large areas, but Saline Valley contains numerous small drainages, erosion cuts, and rocky features where a fall could really, wouldn't be visible to searchers, and that could have caused an injury. The later discovery of a sandal roughly 1,000 feet from the truck raised the possibility that he traveled further than initially assumed. And if that item is his, it suggests movement into terrain that may not have been fully searched under the extreme heat conditions. And then likely, obviously, dehydration and heat exposure, also possible. Maybe he got turned around in the evening and wandered around trying to find his truck. Daylight hit, and then he succumbed to exposure because he didn't have any gear or food or anything with him. It was all left in his truck. So those are the likely theories. Less likely is foul play, though family raised foul play as one of their theories. So they publicly raised concerns about foul play, including reference to a message that I could not find and frustration over perceived investigative delays. But, no publicly released evidence supports any criminal involvement. And this is a pretty remote area.
Yeah.
I think it'd be unlikely. And if someone was there to rob him or something, they would have taken all of his stuff from his truck, which they didn't, or just take his truck.
Yeah.
And they didn't take any of that stuff. It was all left untouched.
Seems like a lot of work to go through.
Yeah. Okay, so final case. This one has the least amount of information, so it shouldn't take too long to get to. His name is Peter Harootunian, and he went missing on May 15th of 2022. I want to make sure I got the name right.
Harootunian?
Sorry, so Peter Harootunian. He went missing on May 15th of 2022. Male, age 52. He was 5'11", 160 to 180 pounds. He had black hair, brown eyes. There was no publicly released description of what he was wearing. We don't know his personality. We don't know his medical issues. We don't know his hobby. We don't know his experience level. We really don't know much about him other than he went missing. So May 15th of 2022, Peter is believed to have last been seen on May 15th in Death Valley National Park. Records associated with his disappearance are listed in the California Missing Persons Index. Beyond the date and general location, we don't have a lot of publicly available information describing even his route. He intended, what his destination was, what his entry point into the park was. He didn't have, I don't believe he had an itinerary or permit. So it's amazing that this happens sometimes where we have literally a human being went missing and there's really no information about him.
Yeah.
So late May 2022, so at some point later in May, his vehicle was found abandoned at Emigrant Campground inside Death Valley National Park. Again, we don't have an exact date and time the vehicle was first noticed. No details released describing the condition of the vehicle, whether personal items or gear were found in the vehicle, or whether anything at the scene suggested a direction of travel. So by May 23rd of 2022, a search effort did begin. It focused on the area surrounding Emigrant Campground and nearby backcountry terrain. Death Valley National Park rangers coordinated the response. We don't really know the scale of the search. We don't know how many personnel were involved. Very limited information. By mid-June, so that started on the 23rd. By mid-June, he still had not been located, and at this time, the search was transitioned into a limited and continuous phase, obviously indicating that large-scale active operations had ended while rangers remained alert for any new leads. And following that transition to the limited search, there's been no further public updates. There are no publicly accessible incident logs, sheriff narratives, or after action reports detailing his movements, or even the full scope of the search effort. Social media discussions continue to just kind of circulate these basic facts and also bring up, it's kind of strange, the lack of information on this case. But to this day, this gentleman has not been found. We can't even find pictures of him online. I tried to find...
Yeah, I'm not finding any.
Yeah, I tried to find pictures of him, and I included this just because it just seems odd to me that absolutely no information is available on this disappearance, other than we know his truck was found at this campground, and they did a search. We don't know how big the search was, and nothing was found. And that looks pretty darn barren.
Yeah, like for an area at the road, it's just dirt.
It's like a spot on the ground that doesn't have rocks on it that you can throw a tent down.
Yeah. That's wild.
So, theories on this one, who knows, but they're probably similar to the other two gentlemen. Exposure, terrain hazards.
I mean, the fact that it's a paved road and a parking lot is incredible.
Yeah. So, he got lost in exposure after leaving the campground. It could have been a medical emergency away from the vehicle. Could have been heat related or dehydration, accidental fall, voluntary disappearance, or foul play. But this case, there's just no information really. And I feel sad for his family that, sometimes this happens when we cover a case from like 1940, but this happened in 2022.
Yeah.
It's only a few years ago. And I don't understand why nothing was released. What are your thoughts on just the lack of information?
I don't even know. I mean, it literally could. I mean, he went out to Death Valley and then
Gone.
Yeah, he's gone. So I mean, I assume, maybe heat exhaustion, hallucinations, things like that. Like, do you wander off in like a bit of?
I'm more curious why they didn't release any information. Like,
yeah, there's like nothing about this person on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what can you release if you don't know when he got there, where he was going?
Yeah.
But you could release information on...
It's like literally showing me other people that passed away.
Yeah.
In some of them. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, see, like I searched that and it says deceased person found near... It keeps popping up this other person that they found.
Yeah.
Every time I want to search for it. It's like they mention that they started a search but has not been found and then scaled back.
Yeah, the only real article on it was the out of gas.
Yeah.
His name was mentioned in that article.
Yeah. As I'm saying, that's not even like I keep getting pulled into these ones. Like the David Kelleher.
Yeah.
Where they recovered him. And then they just always mention that there was a search for him also.
Yeah. So very puzzling. This one, I usually would not include a case that is this sparse. But I just found it interesting that
there's nothing.
Someone went missing, somebody's father or son or brother, and the law enforcement didn't even, there's not even like a press release on it really.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
That's like an off the deep end one. It's gotta be like,
was he,
they're like, don't ask questions.
Yeah. He was like ex-CIA, and like they're like, yeah, he went out for a hike. Don't ask anymore.
Yeah,
or you'll be joining him.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
like seriously, like there's nothing.
Yeah, it's wild.
The little that they have is just like
I've never found a case more recent like this where there's not even at least one press release from the National Park Service or a status of like how many searchers they had out in the field.
Yeah, that is wild.
Yeah.
Well, if any of you listening, I mean, this has happened before where you have people that are like close to these somehow. Like if anyone's listening and knows anything about that one, I'm definitely intrigued.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, what do you think? You think all three are?
I mean, well, that last one, I'm like leaning off the deep end just because
I'm
nothing.
off the deep end on the last one.
But the other ones, I think it just succumbed to the elements.
Yeah.
I mean, we went through an extensive list of how terrible it is to be there.
Yeah.
So like, if you get lost or make a little bit of a mistake, like get lost at night when the sun comes up, you're done for.
The sandal, the one where he lost his sandal only 1,000 feet from his truck, that one is strange to me. Because what happened then to him? Did he just lose his sandal and keep walking?
And that's where I'm like, kind of like
how far could you get in that terrain without footwear?
Well, it's like the paradoxical undressing, but like in the heat, like if you're in severe heat stroke and you're hallucinating, like maybe he's just not seeing, mirages. Like that's a real thing.
But it was nighttime. So
I'm saying like at night, if if he gets lost, then the sun comes up.
Yeah.
And they talked about how it's hot at night even.
Yeah. 80, 90 degrees.
Exactly. So like this is all speculation, but that's kind of where it's like, what else could happen?
Yeah.
So I just feel like it's elements for all of them. I mean, it's not animals. It's not anything else.
No, it's not animals. And
just
I think
exposure. And then they have just yet to find anything.
Yeah. It's such a remote park and so large that his remains are probably out there somewhere and just maybe no one will stumble across them.
Yeah. That's what I think.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Thanks again for tuning into our show. We appreciate you all for listening and sharing Locations Unknown with your friends and family. Be sure to like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and YouTube, where you can find the videos of each episode. Also, if you'd like to support the show monetarily, please visit our website or Facebook store to buy some sweet, sweet swag, and subscribe to our Patreon account, YouTube, on Apple, where you'll have access to special events and additional shows for paid customers only. And lastly, when enjoying the beauty of nature, whether backpacking, camping, or simply taking a walk, always remember to leave no trace. Thanks, and we will see you all next time.